Good evening. I am calling to order at 7:31 p.m. the New Rochelle Public Library Board of Trustees meeting for Thursday, March 13th, 2020. Is that right? Yes, Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Can we please start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. There's an attendance sheet going out. We have excused absences from our trustee Rhiannon Navin, who is out of the country, and also from our WLS representative, who is out today for holiday. So first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the February 13th meeting. Everyone has received the minutes for review, and I will ask for a motion for consideration. Seconded by Vera Salter, and I will open the floor to any discussion or questions. Okay, hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great, thank you. Turning now to regular business, as I mentioned, our Westchester Library System Representative David Menner is not attending tonight. However, he did share a report with us, and that will be included in the minutes and the public minutes that will be available on our website after this meeting. And so with that, I'll just turn our attention to the president's report. A number of things for the board to consider, discuss, and hopefully approve. The first is the credit card acknowledgement. As you know, we have a credit card policy in place, and anytime a staff member seeks to use the credit card, they must first read through, sign, and acknowledge the policy and the use agreement. So we have two employees doing that who have signed that, and for whom we have to pass this evening or discuss. And one is Robert Simic, who is the head of Children's Services. The other is Alvin Achoy, who is a laborer. So I believe that we could do them both at the same time. And so I am going to ask for a motion for the board to consider the credit card acknowledgement and agreement for both Robert Simic and Alvin Achoy. May I get a second? Seconded by Corey Galloway. Any discussion or questions? Great. I will ask for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The second is our annual report that was also shared with the board prior to this meeting. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review. That is a report that is done, given its name, every year. So I am going to make a motion for board discussion and approval. May I get a second? Second. Thank you, Tatiana. And with that, I'm going to open the floor to any discussion or questions related to the annual report. Okay, thank you. Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great. The third is our annual E-rate. And so each year, the library applies for E-rate funding. This is federal broadband access money that is available and helps libraries and school systems access affordable telecommunications that include equipment and internet, and it really is an essential online service and supports for the library to support the community, and provides us with costs at a reduction of about 80% of what it would. We have we have a firm that is going to provide the service for us. It does require discussion and approval from the board first before we can move forward with that. And so I am going to read the resolution, not a revolution. That comes separate apart. I'm going to read the resolution and then call for a motion so we can discuss the E-rate resolution. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the New Rochelle Public Library hereby amends its proceedings and ratifies that the following. Whereas the New Rochelle Public Library engaged in a competitive RFP bidding process for E-rate proposals, and whereas Custom Computer Specialists LLC provided the most competitive and complete response and submission package, therefore be it resolved that the New Rochelle Public Library is entering into an E-rate agreement with Custom Computer Specialists for E-rate year 28, which is the funding year 2025, to save the taxpayers 80% of the total cost of the library's Wi-Fi, software licensing, basic maintenance, and remote monitoring. All right. I'm making a motion for discussion and approval of this resolution. May I get a second? Seconded by Vera. With that, I'm going to open the floor for discussion questions. Yes, Paula.
Hi, yes, I think this is really something that's incredibly important because I know that a lot of our patrons are using our e-services like for books, for Libby. I know I personally use Libby and also use what's the other one?
Canopy?
What is it?
Canopy?
No.
There's one. Oh, there's another one in
I know,
addition to
there's
that.
another one.
Overdrive?
There's
Overdrive?
Hoopla, that's the one that I use, but Overdrive, Hoopla, as you're hearing, there's so many services that are available to all of us, including for entertainment, for school, for our students, for everyone in our community. But I do know that it's something that is an increasing cost for libraries across the country. So I just want to commend the director and board for doing this and for finding a competitive vendor for this, because again, that's a cost that's rising in a lot of places. So to save us 80% as we're all working on our taxes, that's really great. So thank you.
Thanks, Phila. Anyone else? Great. Thank you. With that, I will call for a vote. All in favor of the resolution? Aye. Any opposed? Great, resolution passes. Thank you all. I will now turn it over to our director, who did do all the work to get us this. Who did a lot of the work with our administrative team, let me know.
Yes, I'm
Make
very
sure that that's-
grateful for our administrative team this month. So not only did we have all of this E-rate business, but we also completed our New York State annual report. And this annual report, it's really essential for assessing and documenting our performance, showing us where we fit within our peer group, within our county, within our region, within our state. There's a huge amount of reporting that goes into it across many, many departments, from circulation, program participation, staffing levels, salaries, finances, capital spending, Wi-Fi usage, outside room usage, different services that we offer. They ask about tech sessions, one-on-one tech sessions, ESL classes, how many early literacy programs do we do? Do we participate in the summer reading program? Very, very, very in-depth. And for us, it's important because the approach that we took this year was an empowering approach to staff, because in the past, there was less involvement at the department level. And going forward, the model that we're adopting is that individual departments will be more responsible for all of their own statistics. And so that's really important. Statistics tends to be a very dry word and something that, isn't too exciting, but really at the department level for individual departments to look at their own numbers and to see where they're growing, to see the trends and to be able to analyze that, that's the point of this report. And so that's a new approach that we're taking to the annual report. And also moving forward, the annual report is really a supplemental data point for us in policy and programmatic decision making. And so very grateful for all the hard work that went into it, especially Jean helping to coordinate everything. It was a tremendous undertaking, and we're better for it and have a plan for how we're going to be able to do it more effectively in a more collaborative way next year. So thank you for approving the annual report, and we're going to be incorporating it into the highlights of it. We're going to incorporate into our budget mailer materials. So highlights from throughout the year, a lot of statistical highlights that you also will see and have seen in all of the budget preparation materials that were passed out. Thank you.
Thanks, Eugenia. And I just want to note again that nothing in the library happens by one person individually. So I just do want to call out the administrative team for your help and support in moving a lot of things forward as we get towards the budget season. I'm going to turn our attention now to committee reports, and we will start with the Budget Committee, and Corey Galloway will present in lieu of Rhiannon Navin.
So this evening we'll submit the Budget Committee's recommendation for 25-26 fiscal year budget. But prior to that, the budget exceeds our mandate of over 2%. So we do need to do a resolution. So I'll read the resolution. It is resolution number 2025-03#02, date March 13th, 2025. Topic: tax cap override. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the New Rochelle Public Library hereby amends its proceedings and ratifies that the following. Whereas the adoption of this 2025-2026 budget for the New Rochelle Public Library requires a tax levy increase that exceeds the tax cap imposed by state law as outlined in General Municipal Law Section 3C, adopted in 2011, and whereas General Municipal Law Section 3C expressly permits the library board to override the tax levy limit by a resolution approved by a vote of 60% of qualified board members. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the New Rochelle Public Library voted and approved to exceed the tax levy limit for 2025 to 2026 by at least the 60% of the Board of Trustees as required by state law on March 13th, 2025.
So Corey, you've made a motion, correct?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
making a motion.
All right, I'm going to ask for a second before opening it up for discussion and approval. Seconded by Nancy. Okay. Any discussion or questions?
In light of the rise of cost of
So we're-
living.
Oh, this is the tax levy,
Sorry.
There's
not
only
the
a tax
budget.
levy. Yes.
just to make sure that we increase, that's okay.
We're not
You're
doing-
eager for the budget discussion. I understand.
Chomping at
Very
the bit.
clear. For the tax levy, is there any discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote to pass this resolution, which is a tax cap override. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right.
All right.
Sorry.
So now we'll get to the Budget Committee's recommendation for NRPL's 2025-2026 fiscal year budget. Please bear with me because this is a long read. Summary, the Budget Committee remains very conscious of the everyday financial burdens that impact the lives of New Rochelle's taxpayers. We therefore propose a very frugal budget that addresses only the most pressing needs of the library in the upcoming 2025-2026 fiscal year. NRPL budget requests, $7,207,552.57, the total tax levy, which equates to a 4.7% increase in the average homeowner's annual tax burden, or a $323,546.06 increase from last year. The majority, 92.15% of the overall budget increase are due to increases in salaries and employee benefits. The average homeowner in New Rochelle will see an increase of $19.44 from last year's budget per year. They will go from $413,021 in 2024 to 2025 to $432.65 total annual library taxes for the average homeowner for 2025 to 2026. Salary increases. The overall increase in salaries in the 25-26 budget versus 24-25 is $108,434.17. The majority of this increase is due to contractually mandated salary increases. Additional increases are due to a restructuring and reshifting of staffing to accommodate the evolving needs of the library. Benefits. The overall increase in employee benefits in the 25-26 budget versus 24-25 is $189,714.42. This includes increases in NYSERS pensions, $62,302.35, workers' comp, $12,000, retiree medical insurance, $260,500.60. In addition to these unavoidable increases, the proposed 25-26 budget includes only few other minor line item increases. One, capital funding and future projects, $10,000. It is best practice for libraries to add a modest increase for capital improvements. This allows for prudent planning and future projections of needed improvement. A WLS required equipment repairs, $4,000, contractually obligated increase set by the Westchester Library System. New online payroll system, $9,000. Adopting an automated payroll system for a public library's streamless payroll processes reduces the risk of human error and ensures timely and accurate employee compensation. With state and local regulations frequently changing, an automated system helps maintain compliance and simplify tax reporting. It also frees up valuable staff time, allowing the library to focus on its core mission. Additionally, automation enhances transparency, improves record keeping, and provides an efficient, cost-effective solution for managing payroll in a fast-paced, evolving environment. All right, I'll get to that one. Yeah. Explanation. We've been thrilled to see tremendous growth in how people are using and engaging with the library this year. The NRPL is the library with the highest foot traffic in Westchester County. Given the scale of New Rochelle's population, over 80,000, it is clear that the library's overall budget for a city of its size is on the lower end. The NRPL has a budget that is smaller than some cities with far fewer residents, such as Eastchester and Scarsdale. As an urban center, New Rochelle has more complex needs than smaller towns, such as infrastructure, public safety, education, and social services. Yet it is operating with the relatively fewer resources. While NRPL's personnel expenses, 68.75%, are consistent with many municipalities' libraries, The fact that the total budget is lower than expected for size indicates that the city may be struggling with sufficient funding to provide quality services to its large population. The remaining budget after personnel expenses, which is 1.7 million, is likely insufficient to cover all operational needs of the city. The Budget Committee is confident that we can explain the increased tax burden to the public in a way that makes it palatable to them. It is our opinion that the modest additional line item increases are absolutely essential to ensure the NRPL can maintain our increased outreach to patrons of all ages via enhanced services, as well as a continued modest investment into a current and relevant materials offering to our patrons. Again, the average taxpayer in New Rochelle will see an increase of $19.44 from last year's budget, given that the survey conducted to inform the strategic plan suggested that the community is willing to support the library through taxes. We hope our voting public will support this budget. Thank you. Rhiannon Evans, Chair, Lucille Wenwick, Committee, Corey Galloway, Committee.
Thanks, Corey. So with that, you are making a motion for the board to approve the 2025-26 fiscal year budget.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. May I have a second? Seconded by Falar. All right. With that second, I'm going to open the floor for discussion and questions with regard to the budget. Tatiana.
I have a question, yes. No, he answered some of my question, but I just want to make sure that, are we keeping the library budget increase to a minimum?
Are we keeping,
The budget increase to a minimum?
so, yeah,
Because the
um,
cost of living
above,
in Rochelle-
above the
Yes,
tax
okay,
threshold, but minimum from the expenses that we're asking for. So, yeah, and then I do want to make a point that the percentage increase can be misleading, as the real dollars are not as material. So even though we have, I think it's a 2% mandate from the law, that 2% in going to 4% equals $19.44. So I think the percentage increase is misleading to the actual dollar.
Corey, thank you for the explanation, and we understand that there's like the majority of the budget is due to contractually mandated cost. I think you kind of touched on that. Can you elaborate on the main additional line item increases and why they were necessary?
Eugenia?
Hello. So, the line item increases that we saw, so first of all, I just want to address the question about personnel costs. So in terms of contractually mandated increases, obviously a significant portion is due to negotiated salary increases and benefits for library staff. And those are set through union contracts and other agreements. They're really investments in our employees who are crucial to delivering high quality services. And the vast majority of our staff is forward-facing, customer service-oriented staff that works directly with the public in providing programs, resources, and assistance. And it's not just the salary costs. There, as Corey did describe, there are healthcare and benefit increases that we saw as well in this fiscal year. Several of the specific line item increases that we are discussing, specifically, we are adding a increase to children's programming. So the children's current budget for children's programming, so this is programming that sees tens of thousands of children attending our programs each year. Our budget is $6,000. So for a library of our size and with the width and breadth of children's programming, we're really a community of a lot of families. There are a lot of young children. Our fiscal year budget is $6,000. And so for a budget of our size, over $7 million budget, we're increasing that by $4,000. So that's one of the line item increases. We're also seeing a modest increase to teen programming that is being increased by $1,000. And we're going to be we're asking to increase library materials by a little bit over $1,500. So very modest in scale, but definitely reflects our core collection and the increases in e-content usage that we're seeing. And then finally, prudent fiscal planning. We do need to increase the budget line for tax or sherry settlements. So that line in the budget we're requesting an increase of $4,000 for that line in the budget. Scale wise, these modest increases are percentage wise low numbers when considering our entire budget. We're talking about fractions of a percent in some cases, but necessary for us to continue to grow and continue our wonderful services that we're providing.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
So in the Westchester Library system, there's 38 libraries. How do we rank New Rochelle Public Library among the Westchester libraries in terms of staffing per capita and the money that we spend per resident on library materials?
Okay, great. So of the 38 libraries, we rank 37th in expenses. We're the second lowest in the county at 0.8%, 0.80. Our staffing per capita for every 2,000, we're second to the bottom from an expense point of view. We're staffed very lightly given our population size, square footage of our two facilities, and our long hours. Really adding the new library assistant, team services, and outreach assistant position is appropriate in the context of the NRPL staffing situation and to remain in alignment with the community's stated goals per our strategic plan. So we're second to the bottom from an
That's
expense point of
great.
view. Yes,
So
with
we do
37 out of
use
38.
Our
Yes.
money very wisely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to note that in his summary, Corey talked about the fact that the average taxpayer in New Rochelle will see an increase of $19.44 from last year's budget, right? So it's going up from $413.21 to $432.65. But I think it's important to get a breakdown of what that looks like. So we have that as an annual. But what that means on a monthly basis is $1.62. And if you break that down again, what that means on a daily basis is 5 cents. So the increase that the library is asking from taxpayers per day, the average homeowner, is 5 cents a day. $1.62 a month. $19, less than $20 a year increase to provide services that and programs for our community that are incredibly enriching, are very much needed, and are attended. We talk, and Nancy will talk about this in community relations, but we've heard about all of the programs that are subscribed and even oversubscribed. So it's important to note what we are asking for in this budget and how it breaks down for people to understand. So I just wanted to make that. Are there any other questions or discussion? No? Okay. Before I call for a vote, I just wanted to acknowledge all of the work that was done by our library director, Eugenia, by our staff to look at the numbers, to think about the budget, and to be mindful of ensuring that there was a modest increase that we were bringing to staff members. This is not easy, and it takes a lot of time and effort and thought and intentionality. And I just want to extend my thanks to the library staff for that. And with that, I will ask for a vote to approve the New Rochelle Public Library's annual budget for the 25-26 year. We do have a second already by Falah. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thank you. And I will turn it over to Corey again as the Buildings and Grounds Chair of that committee. For your report.
I'll try and be quick on this one. So Building and Grounds Committee, we met March 7th, 8:30 a.m. We started and concluded at 9:33 a.m. Attendees Virginia, Shatoff, Lucille, Renwick, Vera Salter, and myself. As a discussion, we discussed the ARPA grant, the Children's Gardens project, in connection with the foundation. We went through the memo of understanding. We recapped the kickoff meeting, which we thought went pretty well, or really well. The attendees at the kickoff meeting, our general contractor, our construction manager, our architect, our library director, foundation, and the committee chair. Topics we covered at the kickoff meeting: standing operating procedures during the project, security and workflow coordination, efforts to minimize library disruption during construction. That was just a recap of our kickoff for the Children's Gardens project. Moving on, we went to a roofing study, which was pretty enlightening, but it's very early before we can disclose anything. We're still digesting the roofing study. Contractor numbers range from stopgaps to completely redoing the roof. Stopgaps were in the 5 figures. Completely doing the roof was in the mid 6 figures, over under $500,000. We're still digesting that. Next, we moved on to the library grounds and evening traffic at Ruby D Park. Discussion overall on the overall condition of the library grounds and ways we can improve maintenance as well as security. Obviously, this is an ongoing issue. We're bringing it up because the director brought it to our attention. So as a board, we want to act on it. And right now, it's just an item on the table that we need to address and figure out the best way to move forward. Specifically the evening traffic when the library is closed. And we're exploring potential solutions to enhance safety and usability of the space, both during library hours and after closing. We do have a new facility manager that's coming aboard, and he'll be replacing Rob, who has retired, and there'll be more information on that. We adjourn our meeting at 9:33. That is the Buildings and Grounds report.
Thank you, Corey. Moving on to community relations, Nancy.
There's not much to report this month in community relations. We are meeting next week on Wednesday, March 19th at 9 a.m. It will be a public meeting available on Zoom. We're going to discuss our continued outreach to the New Rochelle Public Schools with including a visit with the PTA, our shoring up our relationship with friends, and our continued outreach to the community in terms of the budget approval process and to the senior community here in New Rochelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Finance Committee, Vera.
I too will be brief. The Finance Committee met on February 26th at 9 a.m. with myself, Lucille Renwick, Corey Galloway, Nancy Weinberg, and Eugene Shadow in attendance. The main topic of discussion was the continued search for a treasurer, still ongoing. We hope we'll have some results to report in the not too distant future. So I think that was the rest of the details can be seen in the board report.
Thank you, Vera. I'm going to provide an update from the Personnel Committee. I will not be as brief as my colleagues. But there's a resolution that we'll have and a number of things to discuss. So the Personnel Committee met on Monday, March 3rd. We discussed a number of areas, including the retirement, as Corey mentioned, of our longtime head tradesman, Rob Florian. We want to officially thank Rob for his 21 years of service with New Rochelle Public Library, and we wish him well on his next chapter and his retirement. The committee also discussed the staff development dates, including yesterday's training on customer service and team building. As the board may recall, we approved opening the library later one Wednesday per month to ensure that the library's staff have enough time for solid staff development together, which is really key for professional development and for their roles in supporting our community and our community's diverse needs. The upcoming staff development dates are April 23rd. These are obviously private and only for staff, but I think it's important for the community to know. They are April 23rd for fire safety and fire drill, May 9th for active shooter drills, and June 11th for opioid overdose related training. In addition, the committee discussed the continued work to further professionalize the library's systems, processes, and procedures, including having a much needed automated payroll system. I can't emphasize how important such a system is, giving our varied types of employees, and how much this will really help with better tracking for staff, for vacation, for benefits, and so much more. It will also help alleviate this tracking burden that our administrative staff has taken on for so long, so that their time can actually be focused on other important work for the library. So I have a resolution to read for the board's approval, and I will do that now. And this is, and I want to make sure that I outline, this is for the ADP automated payroll system. It's an ADP implementation. It's an extension of what we have, but it is a new system. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the New Rochelle Public Library hereby amends its proceedings and ratifies that the following. Whereas the New Rochelle Public Library has a variety of employee types, including union and non-union employees, full-time and part-time employees, salaried and hourly employees, each requiring precise tracking and calculation of compensation and benefits. And whereas the library has evaluated the current internal manual processes for calculating such payroll and retaining payroll records, and concluded that for efficiency, document retention, and other compliance priorities, it is wise to transition to an external automated provider. And whereas the director has identified that the library's current provider of payroll services, ADP, can expand its services to meet the present need, be it resolved that the proposal from ADP shall be accepted and the director is authorized to implement the new system to be effective for the first payroll of the new fiscal year in July of 2025. And be it further resolved, then if the director identifies non-union policy development with respect to policies governing accrual of sick time, personal time, and vacation, the director is encouraged to bring such policies forward. May I get a second to the motion to approve the implementation of this new system? Nancy. You. I will open the floor for discussion or questions. Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the last thing from the Personnel Committee is the salary increase notification for library staff members. This is also included in the larger director's report. I'm going to read these and then ask for approval from the board for all four together. Anita Bailey, a part-time library clerk who is moving from step 1 to step 2 salary increase from 45,149 to 46,609. Geraldo Rodriguez, a full-time social media coordinator, moving from step 2 to step 3 salary increase from $63,527.04 to $66,707.04. Denise Link, full-time community and services support specialist, moving from step 4 to step 5 from $83,402 to $88,008.96. Toby Sevish, full-time cultural programming specialist, moving from step 2 to step 3 salary from $75,291.12 to $79,050.96. May I get a second in this motion to approve the salary increases? Thank you. Thank you. Seconded by Corey Galloway. Any discussion or questions? All right, with that, I will ask for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. I now pass it on to my colleague Falah for a report for the policy.
Thank you, Lucille. Good evening, fellow trustees, Director Shattoff, administrative staff, and the public. The policy committee met on February the 24th and March the 10th. The committee members are myself as policy chair, board president Lucille Renwick, secretary Rihanna Navin, and from the special projects committee, chair Tatiana Infante and Vera Salter. Our esteemed director, Eugenia Shattoff, was in attendance at both meetings. The focus of the February 24th meeting was to discuss the New Rochelle Public Library Board of Trustees bylaws. I'd like to thank our director for inviting our attorney, Attorney Cole, to the meeting to answer questions about the bylaws. The update to the bylaws continues, and the policy committee will share a draft after our March 31st policy committee meeting. We will answer questions from the board about the revisions. So this is a revision of our bylaws. It's our goal to bring the bylaws to the April 10th board meeting. During the March 10th meeting, the policy committee updated our schedule. So starting on Monday, April the 7th, the policy committee will meet once a month on the first Monday of each month, as opposed to twice a month, which we were doing. Our next meeting will still be March 31st. So we're still in March, we still have the 2 meetings. And then we move to our once a month schedule. So we will meet April 7th, May 5th, and so forth. We're continuing our work on reviewing, revising, and adopting new policies. Upcoming policies on our docket are the bylaws, as I mentioned, trustee education, art exhibit and gallery, programming, background checks, the bulletin board, law enforcement, inquiries, and staff gifts. Thank you to all of our committee members and Eugenia for her support.
Thank you, Falah. I'm going to turn it over to Tatiana for Special Projects Committee.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. But there is a lot of work done
Well, we're
by the
working
special
on
projects with the policy.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. Thanks, Tatiana. Okay, it is now time for public discussion. Hearing none, I'm going to move to make a motion to then adjourn the meeting of the New Rochelle Public Library for Thursday, March 13th. May I get a second? Seconded by Falah. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, then I am adjourning this meeting at 8:15 p.m. Thank you all. Have a good night.